In Book 1 of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, often called a book about gratitude, he is going to mention both cardinal virtues and more specific subordinate virtues, as well as a few others. And he's going to talk about what he has learned or received or is grateful or happy about from people in his past. And he begins by talking about his grandfather Verus, and he uses a great term, good character, kaloēthia. And then he also talks about a lack of anger there, which is quite striking. He brings up Maximus, who he also talks about as having a blend of character. Again, he brings up ēthos, right, as important. And then he talks about Servus, who has a love of various things, love of family, truth, and justice. And these are motivators. Now, when it comes to the subordinate virtues, the ones that Marcus will actually use the language of the most refer to courage. So he's going to use words for enduring or bearing toil or loving toil. He's going to talk about enduring. He's going to use a lot of language having to do with anger and forgiveness. He's going to also talk about perseverance as well and enduring the things that you come across. Temperance, he's also going to use quite a lot of language with respect to that. Modesty or self-respect plays a role there, being content with little, self-mastery, forbearing or abstaining from things, being well-ordered, and even being sober. And then we have a lot of justice language as well. But interestingly, the subordinate parts of the cardinal virtue of justice that he's going to talk about the most in these people have to do with piety, but also being kind or agreeable, which sometimes people don't place under justice. So he talks about kindness itself and being generous with other people and being agreeable with other people. But he also does talk about giving to each what it is that they merit. There's a few other terms that arise that we might be a little bit hesitant to lump directly under one of the cardinal virtues. For example, euthumos, cheerfulness, perhaps that belongs to courage. Semnon, dignity, that might belong to justice, but it also might belong to temperance. And then finally, ēleuthéria, freedom, understood as not just generosity, but actually being free. Perhaps that is part of justice, or that could be a result of having the virtues. But we see in this first book that Marcus is going to talk quite a bit in terms of these subordinate virtues.